You won't get many better chances than that. Fine build-up by Rangers, missed by McKimmie. Snelders did well. Mark Walters, Aberdeen players lining up to meet him. Still Walters. McKimmie emerging with the ball. And then in fact goes the half-time whistle. Well, a good first half for Rangers, no doubt about that. And there's the man who scored the all-important goal after 30 minutes. Trevor Steven ran right through the defence and put the ball into the net. The half-time score here at Hampden: Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0. An unchanged Aberdeen team gets the second half underway. No changes either in the Rangers lineup. David Robertson. Aberdeen will want to make a positive start to the second half. And ball played in by Robert Connor, away by Monroe. McLeish to McKimmie. Ryan Grant. And the bend forward looking for Mason. McCoy does well. Teeing it up for Spackman. 1-2 with Johnson. Forward for Walters to chase. Good play by Rangers. Away from McKimmie. Walters having a fine match. Mo Johnson getting the touch. Connor a complete miscue. A chance here. Well, Gary Stevens, he's had a fine game also. He'll be disappointed at letting that chance slip away. Alec McLeish. Put out by Stevens. Mark Walters with McKimmie in close attendance. Rangers have the throw. Stuart McKimmie there, the Aberdeen international fullback.
The official crowd this evening is 40,855. 40,855. And the Scottish Football League.
John Brown. Long ball for Mo Johnson to chase. Well, Snelders is showing he can be a bit of an outfield player as well. Paul Mason getting away from Trevor Steven, does well through to Jim Bett. A chance now for Ian Jess. Back to Brian Grant. Still the chance on for Aberdeen. Van de Ven, and it's saved by Chris Woods. Van de Ven, 2 goals this season, but denied on that occasion by Chris Woods. A good break forward by Aberdeen. Mason holding off the challenge. Jim Bett seeing he had support in the middle. The ball just going ahead of Ian Jess. He did well, kept a cool head. Ryan Grant teeing it up, and good reflexes by Chris Woods. David Robertson. Long ball for Jess to chase. He's in there with John Brown. Well, a risky header. Maybe a bit of a misunderstanding between the two players. McLeish chested down by Mason. Foul against Robert Connor. Foul on Gary Stevens. Rangers wasting no time now that they're in possession. Trevor Steven challenged by Irvine. A hefty challenge going in by Brian Irvine. Connor giving the ball straight to Hurlock. In turn, returns it to Aberdeen. Everyone giving the ball away at the moment. Aberdeen have put themselves in trouble. Stuart Munro, Ali McCoist! The diving header. Well, some slack play by Aberdeen, allowing Rangers to set up that chance. Well, McCoist will be a bit disappointed. Munro racing through. And the header, well wide eventually of Theo Snelder's goal. McLeish struggling a bit, recovers well. Well, Johnson eventually brings the ball back to earth. Stuart Munro. Johnson does well. Gary Stevens. Spackman wide on the right. Bounces fortuitously for Trevor Steven, being chased all the way, does well to get the cross in. Mark Walters! Well, Theo Snelder's down at his right-hand post, eventually pushing the ball behind. Great play again by Trevor Steven, chased all the way by Robert Connor. The header coming down, and that was a great save by the Aberdeen keeper. The ball deflected at the last moment. Devan through looking for Mason, who's been well policed so far tonight. Well taken by Chris Woods. Terry Hurlock challenged and fouled by Paul Mason. Trevor Steven to his old Everton teammate Gary Stevens. Picking out Nigel Spackman, who found a bit of space. He leaves it now to Mark Walters. Spackman to Ali McCoist. And just stringing the passes together. Mark Walters. Trevor Steven. Switch of play. Gary Stevens. Good play this by Rangers. Nigel Spackman. Away by McKimmie. It's gifted to Hurlock. Trevor Steven. Good switch of play by Trevor Steven. Gary Stevens through to Ali McCoist. A good ball. And McCoist just failing to make proper contact. Well, it just hasn't been Ali's night so far. So Ian Jess goes off. And Craig Robertson comes into the fray. Munro forward to Mark Walters. McLeish for Aberdeen. Craig Robertson obviously sent on for his aerial threat, but it's Rangers now through Mark Walters. Ali McCoist. Mo Johnson. Gary Stevens lending good support, racing forward. Trevor Steven. Gary Stevens again. Winning the corner kick. Robert Connor conceding it. Excellent play there by Gary Stevens. Racing forward in support of the strikers. Trevor Steven. The corner kick. Nigel Spackman getting a touch. Hurlock coming in. And the Rangers fans obviously enjoying themselves and sensing that victory is just a few minutes away. Robertson getting the touch to Van de Ven. Robert Connor. Grant to Van de Ven. And if Aberdeen can snatch a dramatic late equaliser. It would of course go to extra time and then penalties if necessary. Late challenge by Jim Bett on Richard Gough. The referee will have a word with the Aberdeen midfielder. Richard Gough first to the ball. Taken down by Bett, who gets a stern word of warning from referee McGinley. Gough limping back into the fray. Fleisch getting the touch for Aberdeen. Corner. So just about a minute to go. Oh, and a mistake there by John Brown. And the ball running behind. The goal kick, says the referee. Well, a controversial moment as Mason toppled over the goalkeeper, but the referee well up with the play. That's the second time that there's been a misunderstanding between Brown and the goalkeeper. Well, Rangers could have been in all sorts of trouble. Ali McCoy turning well against McLeish. Just seconds remaining now. Nigel Spackman finding Hurlett. Munro. Matt Walters. So we're into injury time to be added on by the referee. Still Walters for Rangers. Dumped to the ground by Van de Ven and McKimmie. A little flashpoint developing there between Walters and the Dutchman. Walters, I think, will be called forward along with Peter Van de Ven. Well, it's all quite unnecessary. And of course, the problem with this type of booking, it will rear its head later in the season. Players will be sitting in the stand when they could be making a contribution on the field. Walters had possession. He was obviously tripped by Van de Ven. McKimmie in there doing his part in it as well. So the yellow card shown to Peter Van de Ven. Now it's the turn of Mark Walters. And there in fact goes the full-time whistle, and Rangers through to meet Celtic in the Skol Cup final on Sunday, October 28th. And the fans are delighted by that. The all-important goal scored by Trevor Steven after 30 minutes of the first half. Tenacious play by him, great skill and composure as well as he slotted the ball past Theo Snelders. The final score here at Hampden Park: Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0.